I was never the most talented lyrical MC and all that. I tell you what, though, I outworked everyone. I just outworked them. I was doing things that no one else would do. I was showing up. I was meeting club owners. I was approaching DJs. I was building relationships.
I was like, you were selling.
I was selling and I didn't know it. But it's what happens when you have blinders on and you just feel so passionate about stuff. And it's carried through today.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sales Spark Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Barnaby, and I'm so excited to be here today with my good friend, longtime friend, 9-year friend, Brad Tunn, salesperson extraordinaire, mental health advocate, addiction recovery guy. He'll tell us more about that, and just all around great human being. And Brad, I'm so stoked to have you back again. If you're listening to this, Brad and I recorded this about a week ago, but my audio just wasn't great. So we thought, let's do it again. So here we are.
Somehow it's going to be even better. And that's just the way it is. I am beyond honored. You're a hero of mine. And I say that genuinely.
I really
so
appreciate
thank you
that.
very, very much for having me.
I really appreciate that. And if you go out into my LinkedIn history, you'll see a very kind post by Mr. Tunn today. And I reposted it with my thoughts. And Brad, I want to hear it from your side because we talked about that. And there were some things that I didn't realize. But I'll just tell you, if you're listening to this, take the meeting. You just never know where it's going to go. And there were a lot of things that Brad's going to share that I didn't know that were going on in his life, but his dad's is a badass. If you know Jeff Tunn, you know that to be true, and connected us, which was super cool. And I cannot believe that was 9 years ago, but I remember it. I remember walking in. It was in that place. It was a bar at the time, but it was a coffee shop in the morning, and I don't remember the name of the place.
I don't either. It was next to, it used to be called Mo and Johnny's there in Broad Ripple, Indiana. And now it's like the Bulldog now or something like that.
Yeah. I think it is the Bulldog. I think you're right. So,
but my dad said, you got to meet this guy. And he had given me a copy of your book a week or so in advance. And I'm like, this is awesome. I don't know that I've read anything quite like this.
That's cool.
I thought I was on an island and crazy with thinking about life this way. And now I'm reading it in a book from this guy named Jason. So I went in, I'm like, I'm going to get this dude's autograph, complete fanboy. And I was, it was 2017. I had, my life was, at the time, recovering from some shambles, I would say. And it's never been a linear journey for me, but I was really trying to figure out where I wanted to go with my career. Yeah. And it was just networking, just networking and like, okay. And dude, I just remember being so aligned on so many things.
Totally.
And it taken off from there. But yeah, that was 2017, 9 years. Holy cow.
That's crazy. And what's funny to me to hear you say that about the book, like I really wrote that book more for me than I did for anybody else. And I will just tell you that I'm still blown away that anybody has read that book because I wrote that book for me. And I remember one of my friends said, "Hey, Jason, I went out to Amazon to get your book." They're like, "Do you know that you have reviews?" And I was like, "I have reviews?" I was like, "What?" And I go out and I'm like, "Holy shit. And I don't know. I knew a couple of them, but I'm like, this isn't like friends and family that I paid to do a review. Like these are people who decided on their own, like, hey, we're going to do a review of this book. That's badass. And they said really nice things about it. Even better. So it still blows me away when people, when they do take the time, and I've gotten a handful of those reach outs over the years. Like your book was given to me by somebody that I know, and it really helped me at a particular time. And it's such a privilege that this thing has taken its own life form, and it's just cool. And I'm so glad that was one of the first impressions that you had of me. That's really neat.
Still on my bookshelf, man. And
That's
I'm just
cool.
I'm just gonna admit it. Like I'll tell you to your face. I'm just waiting for the right time to put it on eBay. Just to get. I got kids to put through college, and I feel like the more you're doing what you're doing,
Oh
uh,
goodness.
that's gonna pay some bills
I'm
over
getting all
here.
verklempt over
So
here, getting all red in the face. All right, so Brad Tunn, let's talk about a little bit about what was going on that time that we met. How did you get to where you are? And obviously, we're going to cover. I didn't say this in the intro, but Brad has a very interesting story about being a rap artist, and I kind of live vicariously through that time of his life because I wanted to do that as well. I did not. And probably the world is a better place because I didn't, but I'm glad that Brad did. And so just take us through that story and then lead us up to that coffee and then what happened afterwards.
yeah, I would love to. I mean, I went to school at Indiana University, the greatest school in the
Go
history of
Hoosiers.
mankind.
Go Hoosiers.
Um, and the reason I went there, other than it being the best school, was I was going to I did major in sports marketing and management because the movie Jerry Maguire had come out, and I was like,
Yes.
that's what I'm going to do. I'm a 5'7", semi but not really athletic Caucasian male, and I'm not going to play sports. So let's get into the sports business. So I went to IU to do that. Got an internship from school with the Chicago Bulls up in Chicago, doing like season
Wow.
ticket sales and group sales.
Was
Yeah,
that when
working at.
Jordan was there?
So Jordan was not there. I'm not. I'm
Okay.
not there. That was the wonderful Luol Deng, Ben Gordon, Ben Wallace
Oh, okay.
time
Yeah.
frame,
Okay.
and sold tickets up there, and it was awesome. I mean, so my firstborn, from like 10 years old on, I knew one day when I had my own first child, boy or girl, they were going to be named Jordan, just to put it in perspective. And
I
that did
didn't
happen.
realize that that's what Jordan was named.
That
Okay.
that did happen. So just to
Yeah.
put it, so
Awesome.
I was living the dream, and it was a temporary internship. I got a full time job, sales job with the Indiana Pacers from
Okay.
there, and this was '06, '07. This
Okay.
was not the Pacers that people may know today. It was tumultuous and toxic. And if anyone has seen the movie Boiler Room with like Ben Affleck and Vin Diesel, where they're cutting off
Yeah.
ties, and if you leave at 6 p.m., they're like, "Why are you taking a half day?"
Right.
And
It's
anyway, long story short, I quickly realized, man, that just like the business side of sports was just not. It wasn't for me. I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't getting out of it. So I was single and no kids, and did what any, I think, bachelor would do. I think I had like $1,200 in a savings account. I quit my job without one,
there
and
you go.
drove
Very Jerry
drove.
Maguire-esque of you.
Yeah, who's coming with me? No one said, just me and the fish. And went to a Best Buy and bought a bunch of recording equipment, and decided, seriously, I set up a little studio in my 1 bedroom apartment on the northwest side of Indianapolis, Indiana. Set up my MySpace account, and dead ser- and
MySpace. I love it.
embarked on what ended up being 8.5, 9 years of, I'll say,
Wow.
semi-professional, because it
There
wasn't
you
paying
go.
all the bills, but
Yeah.
and dude, it was bad at first. Like like it was bad. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I wanted to do it. I
Well,
didn't know. You know
see,
what I mean?
but that's what I love about you and your story because you're and again, like if you're listening to this, if you're like a kid in college who's like I'm really good at talking to people. I think maybe I could be good in sales, but I don't really know. Like one of the best ways to figure out if you want to do something or not is to just go figure it out. Go try it. Because one of the best things that can come out of that, if it's not for you, is you know that. And yes, you're likely going to be bad for a little bit, but you get better, which is what I love. And so I love the fact that you're humble enough, and I know you, and I know that this is true, that you're humble enough to say it wasn't good. But I've heard some of the stuff afterwards, and it's pretty damn good. So obviously you got better.
Got better, thankfully to like my friends and family didn't have to like lie to my face or anything, that kind of thing. I just knew I wanted to do it and give it everything I had. I had an intense passion for the process and the underdog role. And I was never, even when I started selling albums and doing shows, and I did some pretty like legit stuff for a, for a white kid from the suburbs of Indianapolis, Indiana. And like,
give us some headlines.
I did shows with Cypress Hill.
Damn.
I did shows with Wiz Khalifa in front of like 15,000 people.
Damn.
I did shows with Logic, Keith Murray.
Okay.
I did, and some regional stuff and all that. Dude, I got songs on the radio. Like I swear, I had my friends calling me like, "You're on the radio." I tell you what, man,
That's crazy.
I had, I've been present for the birth of my children. That probably tops it. But other than that, I got to be honest, man, like nothing. That is incredible. And I did all that because I just worked hard. Like
yes.
to go from like this setup of trying to learn how to make beats and put songs together on my Dell computer like in my living room of my apartment to that is amazing. And I was never the most talented lyrical MC and all that. I tell you what though, I outworked everyone.
There it is. I outworked them. I was doing things that no one else would do. I was showing up. I was meeting club owners. I was approaching DJs. I was building relationships. I was like, you were selling.
I was selling and I didn't know it, but it's what happens when you have blinders on and you just feel so passionate about stuff.
Totally.
And it's carried through to today. Like it just has. I've learned so many lessons from that process. I started I had my son, in 2014, Jordan was born in 2014 and I was like, okay, like, and I knew I had some skills outside of hip hop, at least something that could make a little more money than the Indiana rap money was making. And I was like, I have a responsibility here.
Indiana rap money.
You know what I mean? But I love it. And like, I'm so grateful for that time.
As we are when we look
so
back.
To answer your question that you asked a long time ago, I was on the tail end. I'd wrapped up really my hip hop career. Yeah, my hip hop career. I had realized for the first time in my life, shortly before I met you, that I was a real alcoholic. I didn't know that. I'd spent some time trying to figure that out and deal with it. And that's been a long journey. But when I met you, I was on the up from trying to figure that out. And I was like, okay, I need to start networking and figuring out what I want to do. And I started coming across all these like-minded people in our city of Indianapolis. And
there's a lot of us.
Yeah. And I'm like, I didn't know. I didn't know that work could fill your cup and bring you energy.
Yes.
I just didn't know that. And And meeting you and so many others, and a lot of these folks were in the tech scene, tech, like SaaS and all this stuff. And I knew I could do sales, right? I'm like, okay, but I got to believe in what I'm selling. I have to.
Totally agree with that.
I just can't. I've told you this before, but like if someone told me tomorrow, you need to go sell office supplies to make a living, like we'd be homeless. I just can't. I don't care. So I got, after I met you, I got linked up with TechPoint. They're a nonprofit here in Indiana, and they had I remember seeing on LinkedIn one day, they're like, for people in transition that want to get a foot into tech sales, and I was like,
that's me, baby.
They had this like sales boot camp that you had to apply for, and I somehow got accepted to do that. Where they take you around to a few SaaS companies in town where you do like quasi internships and basically interview for a job on the job.
Yeah.
And I walked into One Cause, which is a fundraising company, SaaS company in Indiana, and the rest is history. We can get into it, but I'm like, nonprofit tech is what I was born to do it. Like
crazy.
I love it so much. Yeah. But
that's awesome.
that meeting with you, man, was like when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do from a career standpoint. That was right at the start of that.
Wow. That's I wasn't aware of that. And it's funny because you and I were both at the same event last week for One Cause, where you worked and where I got to do some keynoting and some other stuff that was really fun, and to watch a company go from, what I loved about all the posts that I saw about that is, I think it was Steve Lausch that he's like, the dream, the building, all the frustration, but all the excitement from building the thing, from selling it, from finding the people, and then getting to the place where they could sell the company to somebody else. And, people that were a part of that throughout the whole thing. And I just think about what you said. I relate that back to One Cause. There were some stories about Steve, the CEO, like when one of the investors was talking that said, he came in and Steve had the spreadsheet up, like, who's not getting paid this week, like, and calling consultants and saying, can't pay you this month. And just to keep the, like, I don't know if it's determination or stupidity or maybe, or grit or blindness. Maybe it's a combination of all those things, but like, I think you and I are very similar. I went through my own stuff in 22 and 23, and as hard as it was, I never thought about quitting. That just wasn't an option for me. And, I think it's similar to you with what you did with music, with what you did with sales. And I quote Brian Neal all the time, and I'm going to quote him again. He talks about his podcast. It's been going now, I think, for 19 years, over 1 million downloads. And he's like, and he said it. He said, I'll be the first person to tell you, I'm not a great podcast host. I just didn't quit.
Yep. Dude.
And I think that it sounds so simple. Yeah, don't quit. Like, what does not quitting mean? Like, you were working all kinds of odd jobs while you were still doing the thing. I worked at the Target warehouse for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 12-hour shifts so that I could do the thing.
Yep. Tuesday
through Friday.
Yep.
I worked construction jobs. I cut yards, like, and I think anytime you get to the point where you think like that's below me, or believe me, when I was working at the Target warehouse in fucking July with no air conditioning and you had to peel your clothes off to pee because it was so freaking hot, and I'm calculating what I'm making an hour and what I had made for a keynote, and I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, this is stupid. But I think the grit and the determination to just keep going. And I don't mean like burn the candle at both ends so eventually there's no candle left. Like, there's got to be some balance, but that determination. And, when you got into tech sales, that took you, you did the internship, you went to this place, you went to this place, you went to that place. Like, you've made a mark everywhere you've gone. And one of the things I love about your content is that you take what I would consider here's how I read it. You take, like, I've seen a couple of your posts where you'll collect the frustrations, the no's, the rejections, the objections that your clients are giving you, and say, here's what I'm hearing from people in my space. And what I love about what you do about that, number one, there's a curiosity there that not everybody has. And if you're listening to this podcast, you've heard me talk about curiosity a number of times. So there's a curiosity, there's a care about like what people are about. And you take that and you say, and here's a solution. Because I'll tell you, when I was in management and people would come and they didn't have a solution, I'm like, why are we, I'm not your parent. Like, why are we doing this? Yep. I love that you come with solutions. And I would just like to talk a little bit about, your presence on LinkedIn has blown up in 25. You were my number one account that I followed, which I just think is
it's so cool, dude. That's wild.
It's because of who you are. Like we've switched. We've switched places a little bit, so and now like you're always at the top of my feed because I'm always looking at. But talk a little bit about how you've used LinkedIn and what you use it for and what your strategy is and some of the successes that you've seen.
Man, yeah, I appreciate all of that. I think for me, it's been an experience of stepping into who I am and knowing myself. And what I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that is this journey, like I've lifed. A lot of us have really lifed, man.
Yes,
And I have this sense of it's a gift. It really is. I don't
it
ever want to
is.
experience some of the traumas I've gone through,
Right.
but what it's given me is a sense of perspective. And
Right.
I don't take myself too seriously. I work hard
Sure.
and I set goals. And when you were talking earlier about working at Target and to be able to do the thing and me with music and in sales and whatever happens, are like what comes to mind for me with all that is it's what happens when you're aligned with what you're doing. Like
Yes.
it's your
Yes.
why. It's your why. I'm
Yes.
not. Simon Sinek has a book, and I can't remember he has several, but he talks a lot about infinite goals versus finite ones, and
Mm.
that's always stuck out to me because if I have an infinite type goal that's aligned with my why,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm not getting exhausted trying to get to these checkpoints. It's just part of who
Yeah.
I am, right? And I can
Right.
check in with myself if I'm not making progress or if this doesn't feel right, if this isn't aligned with who I am, then I need to be
Right.
honest with myself and kind of pivot. But that's how I show up every day is
Mm-hmm.
because I'm doing what is aligned with my values and how I hold myself accountable. When it comes to LinkedIn, I've never, dude, I've never seen sales like it is today. I've
Mm-hmm.
been waiting. I didn't know it till it happened, but I've been waiting my whole career for sales to be where it is right now because
Say more about
because
that.
because I've told you this before, but 2018, 2019, like I could fall out of bed and book discovery meetings with in my ICP,
Sure.
right? Just do it
Sure.
like via cold email or a cold call and
Right.
all that. And by the way, I believe in those things, but
Sure.
what's turned into with AI and automation and all these things, like people are inundated with garbage communication,
Yes.
frankly. Like it's crap.
Yep.
And
I
we
totally
have
agree.
this mindset that we need quantity over quality. And if I spray and pray and blast and I have AI SDRs and you know, um, and I just fill in and change the name and hey, you went to IU, I went to IU, cool. You want,
Ah,
and just pitch slapping people to death that I can book meetings and it's garbage. And I've always wanted and thrived off of human connection. It's what I
yeah.
want. I'm an
Totally.
empath, man. Like I
Yeah.
I want to get into conversations. I want to be genuinely curious. I want to see if I can help. And
Yeah.
I've always been someone who's been able to detach from the outcome and
Mm.
not really put my motives on it. That's the secret sauce to sales. The minute I feel like I'm trying to convince you of something, I'm
Yeah.
out. It's over. We're
Yep.
done.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
And I need to be totally okay with not only me not being the right fit for you, but you not being the right fit for me and open with it and totally detaching. And that's what my process is on LinkedIn. It's just showing up as me. I do silly stuff on there too for engagement and to keep it
Right.
fresh. And again, I don't take myself too seriously, but it's also like, I think there's a lot of value in not telling, but teaching people things.
Yes. Yes.
And if so, I work with nonprofit fundraising professionals.
Right.
That's who buys. That's who my buyer is, right? If I can provide value to them, like LinkedIn's like your favorite coffee shop, man. Like,
Yeah,
but it doesn't have to
totally.
be weird. It doesn't have to be weird, right? Like, so if I walk into Starbucks down the street and I see 5 fundraisers sitting at a coffee shop table talking about fundraising, and I pull up a chair and start talking about life,
Right.
probably going to get the police called on me, right? Like, I
Right,
can't do
right,
that. But on
right.
LinkedIn, I can do that
That's a
and engage,
great point.
and it's amazing. It's non-threatening. It's
Yeah.
not a hard sell. It's genuine, and you do that, and you start to have these organic, genuine connections and conversations with people, and you start to get into a sales process, and it's as warm can be
Yeah.
because you've proven value already.
Right.
And I'm not calling you out of the blue, and all those things are fine, but I
Right.
just find a sense of showing up and being authentic. People love it, and I love it. It's so much more fun, right? Like,
Oh, it totally is.
Isn't that
It
a better way to
totally
sell
is.
than trying to? I don't want to say what I think you want to hear.
Right.
I don't want to be that guy.
It totally is. And for those of you who are like, I don't know about this LinkedIn thing, like I want to put something out there that people are going to watch. Brad and I are both people that have put a lot of our life story out there. Mine with depression and suicidal ideation, and Brad with overcoming addiction and being sober and being a family man and all those things that come with all that stuff. And, we talked about this the first time we recorded, but I think still most engaged post is when I was holding my bottle of antidepressants the day after I got it. And I was like, I'm pissed that I have to take these stupid meds. Like the chief fire starter of Firestarters Incorporated is depressed. Like, who's going to hire a depressed keynote speaker? That's what I thought. But then I put this out into the world, and the DMs, the text messages, the phone calls, the emails that I got from many, many, many people that were all supportive, and so many people that were either, hey, me too, or I've been toying with this for a long time, and this post helped me get to the place where I'm okay going and asking for help. And I think that is a good friend of mine, Jennifer Robbins. She's consulted with tons of people who are in our circle in Indy. She has a great approach to life. And she says, people genuinely want you to win, and they are for you, but they can't cheer for you if you don't show up as your authentic self.
That's so
and
good.
I think that is so true. And that's what I love. Like, you'll post something about sobriety or somebody hitting your car or, whatever it happens to be. But then, like, I think probably still to date, maybe it's changed, but like the cheeseburger post was probably the one that got the most engagement, right? Which is just absurd to me. So for those, and by the way, if you're not following Brad Tunn on LinkedIn, change that before this podcast is over and go do that. And secondly, can you just tell us like how you do, because you do this every Sunday with something. I think it's become a Sunday thing, but what did you do with the cheeseburgers?
So somehow it's become a Sunday thing. I rap on Fridays, and we do lists on Sundays. And this all started, like, I was just trying to get engagement and have fun. And I don't know about you, but like me and my buddies, it's like still today in a text thread, we'll be like, all right, who's your Mount Rushmore of basketball players? Like, we still do it, right?
Right.
And there's no right answer. There's no wrong. So like,
right.
I just
but
turned that in.
Smack talking in between.
So much smack talk. And like, are you kidding me? Like, and you argue and like you trying to make it a legit argument, like you're actually going to change someone's mind. So anyway, I started to do that, and people love it, and I love getting engaged on there with people and all that. So I did one on best fast food cheeseburgers, man. Like, and for context on this, for anyone that's hesitant about LinkedIn, let me just tell you, I put that up there. And by the way, contrary to popular belief and what people say to me, do I do it to incite engagement? Absolutely. But let me tell you, I'm not making up my choices. All right. This is not rage bait for the sake of rage bait. I just want that to be out there. Like, I'm not like Die Hard is a Christmas movie and I don't really think it is. Like, that stuff's legit. Okay.
Yeah.
So I did the cheeseburgers one. I was in bed, by the way, for 3 days with strep throat, super sick. But I'm like, let me do some engagement. I had like 170,000 impressions. I think it might be close to 200 now. The other thing though, for you salespeople out there, like my LinkedIn is like a sales funnel for me. Like it works for me when I'm not on there. Yeah. So like you go to my profile, you know what I do, you know how I can help. You can book a meeting with me right on there. Yeah. And within 24 hours of that cheeseburger post, from that post, because LinkedIn tracks those numbers, I booked 4 meetings with my ICP from that post. That's how they found me. Like, and I didn't do it for that, but it's like, are you kidding me? It's so fun.
But yeah, you're going to take those meetings for sure.
Sure. And when we get, I don't know, for me, it worked. Like there's something about humanizing yourself to people, because it's really rampant in the nonprofit space, but I mean, pretty much everywhere. Like I think people have a misconception of salespeople. I own it. I'm a salesperson, man. Yeah. I am a salesperson. I'm a relationship person.
Yep.
That's who I am. But people are hesitant. And you and I have talked about this before. My biggest competition, regardless of what I'm selling,
love
is
this.
is the salesperson that my prospect talked to before me.
So true. So
And
true.
and I love the challenge of breaking those walls down.
Yeah.
I just love it. It's been LinkedIn, man, has been a game changer for me. It's probably 90 to 95% of my pipeline as an individual contributor salesperson.
I love it. And so, if 2026 is your year to get comfortable being uncomfortable, to do something that you haven't done, like, here's the one thing that I hope, if you're listening to this, that would make sense. Think of how many screens you scroll through in a day and how many of those screens you remember. Spoiler alert, people don't give as much of a shit about you as you think they do. They like you're at home in this consternation and anxiety of like, what's going to happen if I put it out there? Guess what? The majority of people aren't going to care, but it might find those one or two people. And then from there, you realize like it's trial and error. What works, what doesn't, but also what's aligned with me. Because man, when it's aligned, like today, we're recording this on a Monday. I love Mondays. I used to not like Mondays, but I love Mondays because I get to do what I do. And it's a privilege and it's a blast. And by the way, for those of you watching, if you saw that door open, that was Blaze the Wonder Dog, who came in for a little scratch before
I love it, Blaze.
Decided to go on. All right, Mr. Tun, as we wrap up, I want to throw some rapid fire questions at you because I think you have some great wisdom when it comes to these. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Absolutely. Put me on the spot. Let's go.
All right. Cold call, cold email, or LinkedIn DM. What's your go-to and why?
So first and foremost, I will say, please do all of them with intent.
Yes. Preach.
Do not blast, but be intentional. I think hitting these channels is needed. Okay.
Do not spray and pray.
But LinkedIn DMs is where I'm at. Like I'm on there multiple hours a day, building conversations, doing it the right way.
You have an interesting way of doing it. Talk about how you do it.
So I want to shout out to, if I can,
Please.
there's a guy named Darren McKee.
Yeah.
So if you're big
shout
on
out to Darren. Yep.
Darren's like the
too.
Michael Jordan of LinkedIn. And he's created a product called 531 Social. And I'm a big user of that and I love it. It's keeping my ducks in a row. But basically, to give you an idea, it's kind of my sequence and calendar of how to do things. So I'm going to use Sales Navigator. I'm going to find people in my ICP, right? I'm going to drill down and do all of those things, but I want to organically engage and I want to get in the comments of their post. I want to get in the comments of posts that they're commenting on.
Yes.
And by the way, don't just say, "Hey, that's great," or "Great post," or "That's cool." Like I genuinely read them and come up with something to add value.
Yeah.
Do not, please, do not copy and paste a post into your chat GPT and tell it to come up with a comment for you. Do not do it. You will, folks, you will ruin your brand and your reputation in seconds. Seconds. Don't do it. Be a human, be a human, be a human. The bar's never been lower. Show up, be yourself.
The bar has never been lower.
Off that soapbox. Thank you. But I keep track of those things, right? So there is a method to, okay, I'm going to comment for a couple of days. Then I'm going to send a blank connection request. Then I'm going to send, I love doing a video DM.
Yes.
And part of my routine every morning, I get up, I take the kids to school. I come home, I do a workout, I walk the dog, and then I do another lap around my neighborhood, and I'm filming 30 to 45 seconds of video DMs.
Love it.
And it's me walking, and it's completely organic. And I'm outside, I'm thinking of them, and dude, I don't know what the cold call connect rate now. For me, it was always like to book a meeting, like it was like 3% of cold calls turn into discos or something. Totally. I'm well above 30% on video DMs of booking meetings. So it's awesome. So anyway, that's my answer there. And anybody that has questions or thoughts on any of that, I love talking about that stuff. So hit me up.
I love it. All right. Book, podcast, or resource every sales pro should know.
The Sales Spark podcast.
Oh, come on.
First and foremost. So if you, I know this is probably cliche, but Never Split the Difference by
Totally.
Chris Voss
Big
is
fan.
my Bible. I try to read it once a year.
Big
There's a lot of
fan.
great stuff out there. The Challenger Sale, I love that.
Yeah.
You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar. That's a Sandler
Ooh,
book.
that's a good. That's I haven't read
I'm
that
a
one. That
big
sounds
I'm a
good.
big Sandler nerd. But Chris Voss Never Split those. You and I were talking about Chris Voss and how
Yeah.
put it in the Chris Voss tone on
Put
the
it in
email.
Chat GPT and tell it to write
Dude,
it in Chris Voss word
yeah.
tone. That's a game changer.
Chris Voss teaches mirroring in there and
Yeah.
labeling and all of these things that you practice them and they start to become second nature. And it's taken my career to another level.
I love that. One sales myth you wish would disappear.
Oh, one sales myth that I wish would disappear. I would say that salespeople are trying to convince you of something. I hate that. I hate the slimy salesperson myth.
Same.
I don't know if you wanted it from that perspective, but that's
No,
what
that's
comes to
fine.
mind.
No, that's fine. Like I
Is
think most of us would like for the whatever the used car salesman thing to like. We're not all used car salesmen.
Yeah, I think that's gotta go away. I think the other thing that comes to mind on this, just to flip it, to give the other perspective on the salesperson side, is that I have to know the absolute in and outs of what I'm selling,
Yes.
or that I need to have the answers to everything in general.
Yes.
Because there is nothing more powerful on a discovery call than saying, you know what, that's a great question. I'm not quite sure, but I'll find out.
Yes, and I will take it. I will say that I do that, and I used to tell my sales team, I don't care if you say I don't know. Now you can't say I don't know on every single freaking call because I hired you for a reason, right? But I don't mind if you say I don't know. Let me find out. Let me get back with you by 3:00 tomorrow. Well, then you go bust your ass to get back with them by 10:00 tomorrow, and you give them a little something that they didn't ask for, because right there you've shown that you're dependable, you're knowledgeable, you follow up. You care, which how many times have you had people reach out and then you respond and you never hear from them again? Happens
Right.
all the time. All right, two more. A recent spark of inspiration that has helped you.
Oh my gosh, so much inspiration in my life. My number one inspiration is my wife.
Yeah, I got a
Um,
chance to meet her the other night.
You did. My wife, I know we didn't get a whole lot into my story, and that's totally like as far as like recovery and all of that. But let me tell you, that woman is a saint, and she chose to seek to understand
Mm,
rather than to, I don't know, it's not. And to watch her help and really lead our family of 6 children and our household. And she's an oncology nurse and the smartest person I know and hardest worker I know. Like, she leaves me in awe every
that's
single
amazing.
day. Like, I can't not show up and be great because, like,
Yeah.
listen, man, I got work to do to keep
Yeah,
up.
we both
you
we
know?
both got fortunate in that respect. I'm 29 years this May, so
Woo!
it's pretty incredible.
Man.
And I heard somebody say the other day, they said, there's that saying, behind every great man is a great woman. And this person said, actually, she's never been behind me. She's always been by my side or leading me. And I'm the one
100%.
who's trying to catch up. And I totally relate to that. And it sounds like you do as well.
Absolutely, man.
So shout out to the ladies that make us better. All right, last question. Finish this. The best salespeople I know always blank.
Show up as themselves. Show up as themselves. Now we want to come to a conversation with a point of view.
Yes.
We want to, of course, I'm not going to show up shirtless. I know a lot of this goes without saying. Like, I didn't feel like wearing clothes today, and that's who I am. Like, all right, chill.
I
But
gotta
like,
show
own
off
it.
the guns, baby. I've been
Own
in the
it.
gym. People need to see it. Yeah, no.
Just own who you are. I don't know. I use the word like messy and authentic and vulnerable.
Yes.
And just be human. Be
Yes.
genuinely curious. I say genuinely curious all the time, and I think it just gets like, I don't know, in my head, like overused. But if I'm genuinely curious and I detach
Amen.
from outcomes, magic happens. So
Detaching from outcomes is
Yeah.
gold. I love it. Well, Brad, we are at the end of our time. You've been very gracious with your time twice, which I greatly appreciate. So thank you for that. And like I said before, if you do not follow Brad on social media, go do that on LinkedIn. And also, when you hear this episode, watch this episode, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, ask them to leave a review. We would love for you to leave a review as well, because that's what helps us get this thing out to the masses. I've got big dreams for this little podcast in 26. So any help that you can provide would be great. One might say any match that you could strike would be super appreciated. So remember to strike that match, because as we all know, fire always wins. Until next time, thanks so much. Bye.